All right, everyone. Let me make sure that this is broadcasting to YouTube. I see 0 eyeballs up there in the corner, but I always like to make sure that I can see myself. Yep, so we're live there. Okay, there's me. So I am going to make an announcement over on the original Big Discussions 76 channel. I'm certain some folks over there will like to come over here to hear this discussion. As I'll describe, I haven't seen the movie yet. That's a disclaimer. I have not seen the movie yet. I've been told that my presence is requested to go see the movie, so I'm going to go see the movie. I'm not making any prejudgments to it or of it, but I'm going to get to that. Let me make an announcement over on the community tab of my original channel. Okay. Short discussion. This is going to depend on who all comes over. This movie is literally, well, the commentary surrounding this movie is literally cooking right now. So, and a number of people have made reviews and synopses on the movie right now. So, what I'm going to say, or should I say, elements of what I'm going to say, are not going to be any different than what other people have said. Okay, so for anyone interested, I'm having a short discussion on the Woman King right now. Prior to seeing it, I want to be transparent that I haven't seen it yet. Okay. So that was shared over on the community tab there. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that channel so that I can watch the metadata roll in at real time. For those of you who don't know what metadata is, those are your likes, your subscribes, your shares, all those different things. So I am going to play the intro and then I'm going to jump in. I just have a few points to get across on the front end of seeing the movie. And if other folks come over and want to come on the panel, I'll open it up. But if not, I'll just shut down and then do a reaction video after seeing the movie, before and after. All right, I'll see you on the other side of the intro. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76 Entertainment and Media. Whether or not you're watching live or you're watching on the playback, uh, definitely please hit that like button. If the algorithm has brought you here, please hit that subscription button. And also share in your network or your networks if I've said something here that resonates with you, or if someone here says something that has resonated with you. If I open the stream up, if I get enough of a crowd here, it is the twilight hour, the evening hour. Bigger content creators are going right now, and this is still a relatively small channel. So if this is the smallest of the Big Discussions 76 channels, and I have not uploaded as much content over here as I have on the other channels, though that's going to change, and I'm going to talk about why in a second. It's interesting because on this channel, I probably have the watch hours I need to monetize it, but I don't have the subscribers yet. And on my science and technology channel, I have the subscribers, but I don't have the watch hours. So it's kind of like it's like this. So, but hopefully soon, I need about 150 more subs over here to get a community tab, and then after that, another 500 to actually get the AdSense and the monetization. The monetization. So, before I jump into the Woman King, and as a disclaimer, I haven't seen it yet. So this is not a review of the movie. It's a discussion before going to see the movie, as this thing is cooking. I mean, literally, it's people are polarized about this. You have a crowd that's gung ho about going to see it, and then you have a boycott the Woman King movement going on now. So, as a content creator, having an entertainment and media channel, it makes sense to me to make something leading up to going to see it, and then I'll probably shoot something in reaction to seeing the movie. Before I jump into why this thing is cooking and what people are talking about on the front end, I want to thank everyone who recently subscribed to the channel. So this channel got a bit of a bump after I had Dr. Tiesan Johnson come over to talk about why there was angst, why there was angst from some people after seeing the Wakanda Forever trailer. I got a bump after he came over, and I actually owe him a visit to his channel. But Dr. Tiesan Johnson has a large following, and I got a bump in subscribership after he came over. So what also happened was I recently created a much shorter video than my live stream with Dr. Tiesan Johnson on one of my favorite episodes from the original Star Trek series. In that episode, it involved racism. So it was the Beale and Lokai. Let that be your last battlefield episode. And I just shot a retrospective video on that, and it's already caught up to my Dr. Tiesan Johnson Wakanda Forever stream. So Star Trek is it's a beloved franchise, regardless of whether or not you agree with what they've done with it. That's a recurring theme now across all franchises. What are they doing with these franchises now versus what were they originally intended to be? But regardless of whether or not you agree with what they've done with the Star Trek franchise, It's a beloved franchise, and there is a following out there for the original Star Trek franchise. So I want to thank everyone who subscribed, and I want to thank everyone who liked that voiceover. And yeah, in the early 1980s, well, in the 1980s, spanning from middle school or elementary school when I watched the original series up until Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Yeah, I was a Trekkie. I watched The Wrath of Khan numerous times. I watched The Search for Spock numerous times. And then once I got a hold of the original motion picture, I became a fan of that. The Voyage Home, The Final Frontier, not so much, but The Undiscovered Country, yeah, I became a fan of that. Uh, I became a fan of The Next Generation, and then I actually own all 7 seasons of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I didn't really watch Voyager, but I'm saying all this to say that that video got a lot of reaction, and I want to thank everyone who watched that, everyone who liked it, and everyone who subscribed since I uploaded that video, that Star Trek video. And the significance of that video, and this is going to wrap into what we're talking about tonight, I believe. There are some things in this country and maybe in this world that we're always going to deal with. We're always at this point. We may always deal with race. We may always deal with gender. We may always have to deal with political differences and religious differences and philosophical differences. So that's the significance of that episode. If you haven't watched it, it was a look back at the episode of the original Star Trek series, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. The guests were Frank Gorshin, who played Beale, Commissioner Beale, and Lou Antonio, who played Lokai. And that episode was about race and ethnicity and constant quarreling between ethnic groups. Okay, give me a second. I want to load up one more thing here. And this is going to be important for my discussion tonight. And again, I have a few points here. If folks come and watch, I'll let this go a little bit longer. If not, I will shut down and fix myself something to eat. Just bear with me for a few more minutes here, and I'll jump in. Well, I thought I had it queued up. Okay, I'm not going to show that one. I'm not going to show that one. I thought I had Dr. Watkins tweeted something, which is the tip of the iceberg in terms of the backlash against this movie. But it looks like I didn't bookmark it. Let me go search Dr. Watkins's Twitter mentions to see if I can find it. Let's see. Dr. Watkins is Dr. Boyce Watkins. He is a money guy. He's a pro-black. He and his wife Alicia went to go see the movie. He weighs in on a lot of things besides economics, but I think as much criticism as Boyce gets, he has a lot of useful things to say. And Dr. Watkins was instrumental in bringing Dr. Claude Anderson out and back into the forefront. where he belongs, in my opinion. Let's see. Okay, here it is. Okay. All right. So, The Woman King. The Woman King. So this is a movie that was just released. It stars Viola Davis. Okay, as a disclaimer, again, I haven't seen the movie. I'm just kind of giving a little seeing the movie synopsis. I'm not going to say anything bad about Viola Davis. I'm not going to say anything bad about Maria Bello. I'm not going to say anything bad about the movie. I'm just going to give my synopsis on what I'm seeing as an observer as the movie um, in the early stages of the movie having been released. Okay, if you want to make a donation to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are here. I don't have AdSense over here, and I don't have a super chat over here yet. So those are here. If you're watching on the playback, these are below in the description box. So I'm at 17 minutes. Let me jump in. So this is the Woman King. This is the embed page. Okay. People have been talking about this movie even before it got released. And right now, again, The Woman King, this movie is cooking in terms of how people are reacting to it and what they think about it and what they think it's trying to say and the imaging and the images of the movie and what people think the messages are that they're trying to communicate. So right now, there is a boycott the Woman King movement. Okay. And I wrote some bullet points down before doing the stream. And so the first bullet point is about Black movies. And the buzz surrounding the Woman King is reminiscent of the buzz surrounding Marvel's Black Panther. I'm not going to go back over that in depth, but for those who went to go see the Black Panther, for those who were looking around when the Black Panther was released back in, I think that was 2018 or 2019, you know that the Black Panther caused a frenzy. And I think that was the largest grossing superhero movie of all time. And I think the only thing that stopped its momentum was the release of Avengers Infinity War. But there was a buzz around Black Panther. There was a frenzy around Black Panther, mostly positive, but there's a frenzy and a buzz around the Woman King, and it's not entirely positive. And I'm going to talk about a little bit of that. Again, this is just what I'm watching and what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not personally condemning the movie. All right. So Black movies, and Black movies are a big deal. Black movies are important because I think traditionally in this country and in the society, um, the imaging of Black people on the silver screen has not always been favorable. So whenever a movie is released where a Black character or Black characters are the lead or the leads, or if it has roots back to Africa, or if it's telling our history, or if we're the featured superhero, that's a big deal. It's going to get a lot of attention. It's going to draw a lot of buzz, and it's going to draw a lot of interest. So right now, The Woman King has been released. Some people have gone to see it. Some people have said it's cool. There's a contingency of people who are saying, I'm not going to see it. And there's a contingency of people who are saying that it should be boycotted. Okay. So I'm going to read an article right now giving Viola Davis's reaction to calls for boycotting the movie. She's the protagonist. She is the star of this movie. And from what I've been hearing, she's um, helped produce the movie as well. So I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to read this article here, capturing Viola Davis's thoughts on calls to boycott this movie. This article is on AV Club, and it's entitled Viola Davis Responds to Boycott Woman King Controversy. This was written by Matt Shimkowitz on Monday at 10:56 p.m. There's a quote from Viola Davis here saying, "You're not going to win an argument on Twitter." Okay. Over the weekend, despite having no recognizable IP, franchise connections, or big fighter jet, The Woman King climbed to the top of the box office with a $19 million opening. It was an unlikely success that may not be as flashy as Avengers Endgame's $300 million opening, but it is exciting to have an original action epic at the top of the box office for a change. One doesn't even need to see another movie before seeing The Woman King. I was watching a video earlier today that stated that The Woman King had already covered its production costs. So that's good news for the producers and for the studio. However, those who read up on the Dahomey Kingdom before the film had some concerns. The Dahomey Kingdom, which The Woman King tells a mostly fictionalized account of, was involved in the slave trade. And critics of the film online accused its depiction of whitewashing and glorifying slavers. Speaking with Variety, Davis and her co-star, producing partner, and husband, Julius Tenen, defended the film first by expressing the futility of arguing with people on social media. So that's been one of the criticisms of the movie thus far, is that it's not an accurate depiction of what actually happened. And it seems that this Dahomey tribe was heavily involved in the slave trade. So I'm going to keep going. I agree with director Gina Prince Bythewood's saying that you're not going to win an argument on Twitter. Davis said, "We entered the story where the kingdom was in flux at a crossroads. They were looking to find some way to keep their civilization and kingdom alive. It wasn't until the 1800s that they were decimated. Most of the story is fictionalized. It has to be." Okay, so Viola Davis right there just admitted that most of this movie is fiction. Tenen continued by describing the movie as edutainment. Shout out to KRS-One. KRS-One back in the early 90s released a rap album that I dubbed off my best friend, and it was called Edutainment. So education through entertainment. Tenen continued by describing the movie as edutainment, insisting that the production has to entertain people because otherwise that would be a documentary. If the movie didn't entertain, then people wouldn't be in the theaters doing the same thing we saw this weekend. We didn't want to shy away from the truth. The history is massive, and there are truths on that are there. If people want to learn more, they can investigate more. Ultimately, Davis insists that the movie examines women who were forced into battle or faced death. They were recruited between the ages of 8 and 14. Said Davis, they were recruited by the king to fight for the kingdom of Dahomey. They were not allowed to marry or have children. The ones who refused the call were beheaded. Davis doesn't seem too concerned with the criticism. Earlier this year, she responded to calls for boycotts. Don't come see it. Then you're sending a message that black women can't lead a box office globally, and that you are supporting that narrative. But speaking with Variety, she focused on the positivity she experienced in the audience's judgment. I saw a TikTok video today of women in the bathroom of an AMC theater, and I don't think they knew each other. They were all chanting and ruminating. That cannot be quantified by words. Okay, so that was the article. So at this point, and there's an image of the movie there. That's Viola Davis. So at this point, I just have a few points here. I talked about why there's so much buzz around black movies. When there's a movie that appears to be ours, it tends to draw a lot of buzz, and in some instances, it tends to cause a lot of controversy. So, is it accurate? I wrote that point down. I just read that Davis and her husband admitted that the movie itself was in large part fictionalized, and the actual truth of the story of the Dahomey is not favorable. I'll just say that from what I've been hearing and from what I've read. And there's actually a trivia. Shout out to Dr. Tia Johnson. There's a trivia at the bottom of the IMDb website that actually talks about the true nature of the Dahomey. So accuracy is a concern for the detractors of this movie. I'm going to check this off. In your black circles, in your black segments of YouTube, in your black segments of Twitter, there was concern, or there is concern that this will cause this may cause a greater potential gender divide, which the argument could be made exists within the descendants of African people in the United States right now. So there's a gender divide concern over this movie. The tweet I was looking for, this is from Dr. Boyce Watkins, and he's not alone in this sentiment. There was another tweet that I could have read, but it's a little more fiery than this one. Yeah, Dr. Watkins shared his opinion was that The Woman King is a terrible title for a movie. So one of the criticisms is, if you're going to have a woman king, are you going to have a man queen? So why construct the title this way? You're going to have a woman king, or you can have a man queen as well. So then another question is, when you're thinking about movies and thinking about cinema and thinking about storytelling, why make this movie? If it's is it just to entertain? If it's not going to be factually accurate, is it just to entertain? Is it just to be a cash grab? On another podcast, I think it was the Real Dana podcast, Judge Joe Brown discussed how there have been instances in the past where these entertainment corporations and these movie houses have been in financial trouble. And when they are in financial trouble, they will make something that they know is going to generate a buzz at the box office. And they know that's going to make them a lot of money. So in terms of why make this movie, even though you know that it's not factually accurate, one reason could be that it's a cash grab. It's a cash cow. So that's being discussed as this movie is being discussed. Let's see. So who made the movie? Who wrote the movie? Who wrote the screenplay? Okay. Before I segue into that, I just want to make the point that movie houses and movie corporations and entertainment corporations, those are businesses. So they know when they make a project. Well, they gauge before they make a project, they gauge whether or not it's going to make money. A couple of years ago, so this goes back to why make this movie. Years ago, I don't know how I got possession of this book, but there's a book by a gentleman named George Fraser. And George Fraser, he's in Dr. Boyce Watkins' circle. He's a black money guy. He's a black economics guy. And George Fraser wrote this book here in the middle, well, second from the right, Success is in Our Race. And the only thing I'm going to say about this is that there's a passage in the book where Mr. Fraser says that corporations, they study populations, they study who's buying what, they study who likes what and who doesn't like what. And he stated there that corporations make calculated decisions on who they're going to market to, and they know which groups are likely to buy what and what they're not likely to buy. And so going back to the question I just asked about why make this movie, even though it may not be 100% factually accurate, it was probably calculated and meditated upon on the front end about who this movie will resonate with and who's going to buy the tickets. So that gets back to the question of why make this movie and who's the movie made for. Okay. One of the other points I wanted to make, and we talked about this in my discussion with Dr. Johnson regarding Wakanda Forever, is this just a movie? There are going to be some people. There are people who looked at Black Panther and they said, "This is just a movie. What's the big deal? Why is everyone so excited about that? It's just a movie." Okay. Well, again, Black movies, as Hollywood, the majority of films are not featuring Black protagonists. When a Black movie of this type comes out with ties to the motherland, it's a very, very big deal. So in this instance, no, it's not just a movie. It's got ties to the motherland. It features a female protagonist. It features an army of Black female protagonists. So when someone says, "Is it just a movie?" No, it's not just a movie because it's saying certain things, and the imaging is conveying certain things. The imaging is conveying certain things, which is why some people are in an uproar and a frenzy over this movie, because it's apparently showing a lot of it's showing female warriors, Black female warriors, but from what I've been hearing, it's showing a lot of Black female warriors killing and maiming Black men. So it's not just a movie. So who has created this movie? Who wrote this movie? And this kind of gets into controlling your imaging, controlling your messaging, and why it's important to control your image and to control your messaging. Okay. So I'm going to pull this up. This has been talked about a lot already ad nauseum on YouTube and in social media as well. So the writers for this blockbuster Let's see. The director is Gina Prince Bythewood. This is the woman in the article who said, "You're not going to win an argument on Twitter." I actually agree with that. You're arguing with people on Twitter is kind of pointless. So you're not going to win an argument with people on Twitter. Let's see. The writers are Dana Stevens. Okay. She wrote if I go back, I think she wrote the screenplay. Yeah, she wrote the screenplay. So all the dialogue, all the scenes, she wrote that. And then the story itself was written by Maria Bello. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Maria Bello, well, I can at least say that Maria Bello played on ER. I did a stream months ago on my favorite episode of ER, and that was the first episode that Maria Bello appeared on, and she played Dr. Delamico, who Dr. Carter developed feelings for, and then I think she was in for 1 or 2 seasons, and then she was out. But I'm showing this to show this communicates why people are kind of in an uproar over this, because this story was not written by Black writers. They were written by white writers. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing to be written by white writers. Black Panther, if you think about Black Panther was not conceived by Black writers. Black Panther was conceived by Stan Lee and the writers over at Marvel. So it was written for Black people. And according to individuals who are more knowledgeable on this than me, Black Panther was created to capture the Black boy and the Black male readership. So that character was not created by our people, and this movie itself was not created by our people, which is why so many people are in an uproar. And that gets back to the question as to why was it written the way that it was written, and what was the purpose for writing this the way that it was written. There's a lot of content on YouTube right now talking about that. I'm not going to go into all that right now myself. And I think this gets to the concept of controlling your own imaging and controlling your own messaging. This has been talked about ad nauseum by individuals like Dr. Claude Anderson. One of his 4 floors was to create your own media complex and to shape your own imaging. Imaging is important, messaging is important, and those who hold the pen and those who have the power to green light certain projects and to squash certain projects, those individuals have a lot of power, because the messaging you get from the news, the messaging you get from television, the messaging you get from commercials, the messaging you get from movies, the messaging you get from music, that messaging has the power to shape how people think, and it has the power to shape how people feel about themselves, and it has the power to shape how people interact with one another. So I think part of the uproar over this movie was, number one, its authenticity and how true and factual it is, but also the uproar has been about, for the people who this movie is going to resonate with, how is this shaping how people feel about one another, and how is it going to shape how individuals interact with one another? So what's going to be the outcome? It looks very exciting. It looks very action packed. But what's going to be the outcome of all of this? And I think that gets to the angst and the uproar of the individuals who are not happy about seeing this movie being made. So imaging and messaging. And that was my last point. So again, I didn't do the stream to demonize the movie. I didn't do the stream to demonize Viola Davis. I didn't do the stream to encourage anyone to boycott anything. I didn't do this stream to demonize the director, the writer of the screenplay, the writer of the story. I didn't do this stream to do any of that. I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm going to go see the movie myself, probably this weekend. I'm not going in with high expectations. For me, this is not going to see the Avengers. This is not going to see Captain America. This is not going to see Batman versus Superman or Star Trek or Star Wars. But I'm going to try to go in with a balanced perspective. I've listened to the detractors. I've listened to the people who are, for all of the detractors, there's a segment of the population that are saying, no, it's cool. Go and see it. It's a good movie. It's saying important things. It's saying a lot. Go see the movie. Trust the movie. It's worth going to see. It's worth the $14 you're going to pay for your ticket. So that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to just create something on the front end. It's caused quite a frenzy. And as a content creator, part of your job is to talk about what's happening and what's relevant at that particular time. So I'm going to shut this stream down. I don't have a big audience for this one. Some people might be disappointed that I didn't really go for the drug dealer on this, but that's not my style, and it's probably not in my best interests to do so right now. I'm thinking about a line from Hamilton where Aaron Burr tells Alexander Hamilton, smile more and say less. Smile more and say less. I'm going to wrap this stream up. If you've entertained me for the last 45 minutes, if you've watched this long, please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Did you go see the Woman King? Are you going to go see the Woman King? Are you going to boycott the Woman King? I'm going to go see it. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Once again, shout out to Dr. Tia San Johnson. It seems that on the MBID website, there's always a trivia section at the bottom of the MBID website. I'm going to read this because I think it's significant. This is on the MBID website. This is on the MBID website. So you have the movie, you have John Boyega there, Viola. I think this is the other female protagonist. But you have a trivia section at the bottom. This is the entire cast. You can look all this up on Google. But the entire cast is there. And then you have this trivia section at the bottom. And this reads as follows. Well, I just lost it. Where'd it go? Yeah, here you go. Okay. It says, the film is based on the Kingdom of Dahomey, which was a West African kingdom located within present-day Benin that existed from approximately 1600 until 1904. The growth of the Dahomey coincided with the growth of the Atlantic slave trade, and it became known to Europeans as a major supplier of slaves. As a highly militaristic kingdom constantly organized for warfare, it captured children, women, and men during wars and raids against neighboring societies and sold them into the Atlantic slave trade in exchange for European goods such as rifles, gunpowder, fabrics, cowrie shells, tobacco, pipes, and alcohol. Other remaining captives became slaves in Dahomey, where they worked on royal plantations and were routinely mass executed in large-scale human sacrifices during the festival celebrations known as the annual customs of Dahomey. Okay, so that's some background on the actual history of the country and the tribe, um, versus what is actually depicted in the movie itself. Kareen, Kareen, have you seen The Woman King? I thought about messaging you on Instagram, but I figured, you'd see it if I shared this on my community tab. Have you seen this? Sometimes Kareen is at work when I do these, sometimes she's at work. She must be busy now because she didn't answer immediately. Okay, on the YouTube side, she answered. She says, I've not been hearing, I think you mean I've not been hearing many good things about it. Yeah. I'm on Twitter. I watch things. I don't always comment. The same is true now for YouTube. I don't always comment on what I see, but there are a lot of unflattering things being said about this movie. But there are also people who are supporting the movie and who are saying that it's great. So I plan to go see it. My plus one, she wants to see it, so I'm going to go in. I don't really have expectations for it. I'm going to get my tub of popcorn and my soda. I'm going to recline my seat back and just watch. So I do plan to make a reaction after I see it. But I pretty much know what to expect going in. It's based on true events. Viola Davis and her husband admitted that it's not entirely factual. So this won't be like going to see the Avengers or Star Trek or any of those things for me. So anyhow, I think I've done a stream every night this week here, or most of the nights this week here. So I'm gonna stop, fix something to eat, and just try to relax for the rest of the night. So this is the pre-stream. I'll make a reaction after I see The Woman King. But the thing is cooking. I mean, on Twitter, on YouTube, I mean, people are kind of arguing like cats and dogs over this thing. So, but I think whether it's this, whether it's Wakanda Forever, whether it's Avengers, whether it's Star Trek, one of my main messages is that imaging and messaging matter. So it matters. It matters who writes these things, and it matters what their intentions are for writing these things. Because whoever writes movies, whoever writes television series, whoever writes music, or whoever is controlling the news that's disseminated to us, they're going to impact how the masses of people think. In some instances, how the masses of people feel about themselves. Corrine says, really, LOL, first time I've seen a notice. Well, this is the only stream I've done this week on this channel, but I did something on my sports channel last night, and I did something on my sports channel around lunchtime on Tuesday, and I think I might have done something on Monday as well. But, yeah. So look for something on this after I see the movie, and look for more Star Trek too. Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper. If you're just coming in, I don't have a large crowd here. Please hit that like button. Any reaction I get is helpful. And not everything I create here has gotten the reaction that my Star Trek voiceover got. So any reaction is helpful, whether you like it or you dislike it. Every subscription helps. So with that, I am going to move to shut this thing down. So Kareem, I'm going to get Artisan over here at some point, because he goes in every Sunday. He's been going in on She-Hulk. I haven't watched She-Hulk, so I don't really know what's going on with She-Hulk. I've heard a lot of bad things about She-Hulk. I don't have a subscription to Disney Plus, so I haven't seen it. But I need to get Artisan over here so we can talk for a little while about what's going on with Hollywood. A lot of people are very, very unhappy with Hollywood and cinema and what they're doing with these stories and our beloved franchises. So with that, Kareen says, I'm not watching that. Looks terrible. Kareen, are you referring to The Woman King or are you referring to She-Hulk? Because She-Hulk is getting clobbered. She-Hulk is getting clobbered. Rings of Power is getting clobbered. Not so much House of the Dragon, but She-Hulk is definitely getting clobbered, and Rings of Power is definitely getting clobbered. Okay, she says She-Hulk. Okay. All right, everyone. Kareem, thank you for stopping through. If I have Artisan over, well, I'll say when I have Artisan over, I'll make sure there's advanced notice, and we'll open it up, and we'll all sit around the fire and have a group discussion about what's going on and what Hollywood is doing and what they are doing to our beloved franchises and even new stories like this. All right, everyone, I'm going to shut this down. I am a YouTube content creator, and I'm also a writer. This is not my biggest channel. I have 3 other channels, but I do have a newsletter. I'm going to send the September newsletter out as soon as I finish here. Please consider joining the Big Words LLC Newsletter. There is a 2-paragraph greeting there, and there is a subscription button there at the bottom. I'm always looking for more names. So if you like to read, the argument has been made that people don't read nowadays, but please consider joining. And with that, I'm going to shut this down. If you watch this on the playback, please let me know what you think in the comment section. Are you going to go see it? Are you not going to go see it? If you've seen it, did you like it? Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm kind of, I've realized that art is art. And while I may have my opinions and preferences on things, I need to be careful about projecting onto other people how they feel about movies and TV shows and music and art. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But I won't project on you what I think. And I would ask that you don't project on me what you think. So everyone, stay safe out there. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Thank you again for stopping through, Kareem. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.